Okay, let's dive right in. We know you're likely an ambitious SME owner listening to this. You're probably juggling growth targets, trying to stand out, maybe navigating that relentless pressure to, use the fast, flashy tactics everyone seems to push. So if you're feeling tired of that whole chaotic short-term game, and if you're definitely done with the kind of unethical shortcuts that just lead to burnout, maybe even damage your reputation, then this deep dive, it's absolutely for you. For way too long, trust in business,
Yeah.
it's been sidelined, hasn't it?
Oh,
It
absolutely.
gets lumped in with soft skills. Yeah, the fuzzy stuff you might mention in an HR meeting, but let's be honest, rarely measure on the P&L.
Right. It's seen as nice to have, not need to have.
Exactly. So today, we're ripping that soft label right off. This deep dive, it's really our mission to prove something, well, maybe a bit counterintuitive. Stop trying to be clever. Seriously. Chasing those quick transactional sales without first building genuine trust, you're playing a short-term game, and honestly, it's doomed to fail. The framework we're digging into today, the Najah Strategy, it takes a totally different approach.
It really does.
It doesn't see trust as some kind of optional extra, a bonus.
Yeah.
It actually proves trust is the single most strategic, measurable, and frankly potent tactic you can possibly deploy.
It's the currency.
The only currency, according to this, that generates sustainable, ethical success.
And that distinction you just made, it's absolutely paramount. So many business owners dismiss trust. They think it's just about being, well, nice.
Agreeable, yeah. Passive even.
Exactly, or passively agreeable. And they fundamentally misunderstand its function. They mistake genuine human connection for, I don't know, a lack of strategic sharpness. But the source material we're looking at couldn't be clearer. Trust isn't just a feeling, it's an operational asset. And look, if you can measure something,
You can manage.
you can manage it. And if you can manage it, you can finally scale a business that's built on, rock solid principles, not just hoping for the best.
So maybe we should anchor our understanding first in the Najah strategy itself. Where does this come from?
Good idea. What's the core?
Okay, so Najah, it means success in Arabic, is fundamentally a system. It's designed for achieving that kind of sustainable growth we're talking about. And it's built on three core pillars:
Which are?
clarity, trust, and integrity. These aren't just nice words. This isn't some motivational poster. It's a strategic framework.
Right.
And it makes trust the absolute necessary prerequisite for achieving something we call certainty at scale.
Okay, certainty at scale. That sounds, well, it sounds big, maybe a bit academic. For the owner listening right now, worrying about next quarter's numbers, what does that actually mean on the ground?
Yeah.
Operationally, how do you scale certainty? That's a fair question. Think of it like this. Certainty is really the highest level of trust. Sales, when you boil it right down, it's the art of transferring certainty to one person.
Okay?
You have to convince them deeply that your solution is the right one for their specific pain.
Right.
Marketing, then, is the science, or maybe the system, of transferring that same certainty to many people, predictably, repeatedly, and crucially, across every single touch point they have with your business. So scaling certainty means you need to ensure that the entire customer experience, from the very first ad they might see, maybe a social media post, all the way through to their post-sale support, it needs to be predictably excellent. Consistent.
And predictability is key then.
It is. It means that the deep, unshakable belief that choosing you is right for them. That belief gets transferred without any distortion, without exaggeration, and you simply cannot ethically or sustainably transfer that kind of certainty if the foundation, your message, your service delivery is shaky.
Right, if there are cracks in the foundation.
Exactly. That scale, that certainty at scale, it's impossible without having standardized, measurable trust protocols in place. It has to be baked into the system.
I see. So the business needs to transform, essentially. Become like an industrial strength lighthouse, cutting through all that noise, confusion, and gimmicks the source material talks about.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, the market is saturated with that stuff.
It really is.
If customers are just constantly bombarded with messages that feel pushy or confusing or just fake, then trust becomes this scarce commodity, something they're actually willing to pay a premium for.
That's precisely it. Our sources are absolutely unequivocal on this point. Trust is the most valuable currency online. Full stop. People are exhausted. They're tired of being constantly sold to.
You feel it everywhere.
You do.
Yeah.
And they're actively looking for guidance. They want clear, honest answers. So when you manage to cut through all that noise, that cacophony, with genuine certainty and clarity, and that's transferred via trust, you become that lighthouse in a storm.
I like that metaphor.
It positions you as the reliable guide, not just another source of, distraction or pressure.
Okay, so let's nail down the terms then. Because the Najah strategy is really clear about differentiating between the two key components that create this unshakable certainty. Trust and integrity. What's the actual functional difference? How do they work together?
Yeah, this is a point where there's often confusion, but getting it right is absolutely crucial for any ambitious owner. Think of it like this, maybe. Integrity is the foundation. It's the internal game.
Okay, what's inside?
Right. And trust is the action, or maybe the result of that integrity. It's the external connection you build on that foundation. Let's start with integrity. What is it really? It means being honest. It means upholding strong moral principles consistently at all times.
Even when no one's watching.
Especially when no one's watching. It's about always doing the right thing, even if, and this is important, even if it costs you a short-term sale. Integrity is the quality from which true, unshakable certainty originates.
So give me an example. A failure of integrity might be like knowing your product has a limitation, a real drawback for some customers, but you deliberately hide it. You wait until after they've signed on the dotted line.
Precisely. That's a classic and damaging example. Integrity demands transparency about limitations. It requires absolute consistency between what you say and what you actually do. No gaps.
Walk the talk.
You have to say what you mean what you say, and do what you say. Without exception, it's fundamentally a refusal to participate in that sort of good enough culture that can creep into business. It demands excellence in ethics.
Okay, so if integrity is that solid foundation of truth, then trust is what?
Yeah.
The house built on top, the actual connection people feel.
That's a great way to put it. Trust is about building those genuine connections. It's about demonstrating outwardly that you genuinely care about the client's outcome. And just as importantly, that you are objectively capable of delivering on your promises.
Capability matters too.
Absolutely. It's the external proof, the manifestation of both your capability and your commitment. Good intentions aren't enough if you can't deliver. And the function of trust, specifically in the sales cycle, it's there to create confidence, plain and simple. It allows prospects to feel safe enough to take that next step, whatever it is. Click the button, book the call, make the purchase.
Reduces perceived risk.
Exactly. It is the absolute bedrock, the essential foundation for all successful commercial activity. Why? Because people will only buy from those they believe are capable and whose motivations they believe are pure, or at least aligned with their own success.
Okay, so if I connect those dots, integrity ensures the certainty you're trying to transfer is actually built on truth, real substance, not just some glossy marketing spin.
Right.
And that allows you to engage in what the source calls ethical persuasion, which isn't about forcing a sale, but genuinely helping people make the best decision for themselves.
Correct. And that's why the synergy, the integration of the two, is completely non-negotiable in the Najah strategy. If that foundation integrity isn't meticulously built and maintained, the whole house of trust, it eventually collapses.
And takes your reputation with it.
Exactly. It destroys your reputation, and it makes that long-term sustainable scale we talked about absolutely impossible. This combination, trust built on integrity, it's the only way to move beyond just transactional relationships to build real, lasting loyalty.
All right, let's shift gears now. We've got the principles. Let's move to the practical playbook. For the ambitious SME owner listening, they need to know, probably right now, what they might be doing wrong, what actions are actively repelling clients, even unintentionally, and crucially, what should they do instead? Let's start with the big mistakes, the pitfalls that just shatter trust instantly.
Okay. We can definitely break down the major pitfalls. And interestingly, they often come from places where business owners think they're being thorough or even clever. But the impact is devastating. There are 3 common ones. The first mistake, and you see this everywhere, especially online, is overwhelming with unclear messaging. It's a huge one.
How does that manifest?
Businesses make the critical error of trying to say absolutely everything all at once. They list every feature, every benefit. They often use really complicated or technical language, maybe industry buzzwords, internal jargon nobody outside their company understands.
Oh, I see this constantly. It's like the marketing version of someone nervously talking too fast right now. They're trying desperately to prove their worth by listing every single bell and whistle their platform has. They call it what? a synergistic, robust, multi-channel solution.
Exactly that kind of language. And the result, it's analysis paralysis for the potential customer,
Right.
which is catastrophic for building trust.
Why catastrophic?
Because this data dump, this overload, it just overwhelms the audience and dilutes the core message. Remember, the customer's attention span online is, well, it's fleeting, microscopic sometimes. When clarity is lost, people don't stick around to figure it out. They simply move on because their brain subconsciously interprets that complexity as either danger or at the very least just too much hard work. And boom, trust is instantly eroded. Why? Because the customer can't even grasp what you do, let alone how you might help them. If they're confused, guess who they blame?
They blame the messenger, they blame you.
They blame you every time.
That's a really powerful point. Confusion isn't neutral. It actively kills trust. Okay, mistake number 2. This feels endemic, especially in our sort of self-promotional culture. Focusing entirely on themselves. Lack of empathy.
Yes, and this represents a profound failure of connection. It's when businesses talk about themselves too much. They emphasize their company history, their awards, their fancy features, their internal achievements. Instead of dedicating, say, 90% of their messaging firepower to the customer's specific needs, their fears, their aspirations, their desired outcome.
Right. It's me instead of you.
Perfectly put. And this self-centered approach, it just feels distant or impersonal. It completely fails to establish that genuine rapport you need because it signals really clearly to the prospect. I'm talking to a vendor who wants to sell me something, not I'm talking to a partner who wants to help me succeed. Customers simply won't listen to your solution no matter how great it is until they feel genuinely understood and valued. So this lack of empathy, it immediately fails the very first test of trust, which is, do you actually care about my outcome?
But wait, the SME owner listening might think, hold on, by listing my achievements, my awards, my years in business, aren't I demonstrating capability? Shouldn't that build trust? How do they reframe that, say, achievement to make it about the customer, not about them?
That's a crucial distinction. They need to shift the focus from what they did or what they have to why it matters to the customer. It's about translation.
Okay, translate it.
So instead of saying, we have 20 years of experience, which is fundamentally about the business.
Right, inward focus.
They should focus on something like, because we've spent 20 years solving exactly this type of problem, we can guarantee you won't waste another minute on frustrating trial and error. We've already navigated the pitfalls you're facing. See the difference?
Yeah, it flips it completely. It translates their capability directly into the customer's certainty and benefit. Less risk for them.
Exactly. It answers the customer's unspoken question, what's in it for me?
Okay. And the third mistake. This one seems to cut right to the heart of integrity, that foundation we talked about.
It does. This is making unsubstantiated claims or lacking transparency. This happens all the time when businesses make big promises without proof, or they present really bold claims without any evidence, and it just feels, well, empty or even dishonest.
Like guaranteeing results you can't actually guarantee.
Precisely. Or using vague, hyperbolic language, the rise of generic, easily accessible marketing copy, maybe even AI-generated stuff has made this worse. Suddenly, everyone's promising 10x ROI without showing any specific mechanism, any proof, any real case studies. It's just noise. And this is a direct, fundamental violation of the Najah principle of integrity. When you exaggerate, or maybe when you use clever, hedging language to protect yourself while simultaneously confusing the client, you're building that entire potential relationship on sand.
It's shaky from the start.
Totally shaky. Integrity demands you be, frankly, brutally honest and transparent about the prerequisites for success with your product or service, about any limitations it might have. People trust what they can verify. But if your claims are just floating out there unsupported, you fail the trust test immediately. They might not even know why, but they'll feel something's off.
Okay, so we've identified the poisons, the things that erode trust. Confusion from unclear messaging, self-focus showing lack of empathy, and dishonesty through unsubstantiated claims. Now let's flip it. Let's look at the antidotes. What are the 3 direct actions, straight from the Najah playbook, that ambitious owners can take immediately to start building that sustainable, scalable certainty?
Right. Action 1 is the direct counterpunch to that first mistake. It's immediately establish crystal clear, problem-focused messaging.
Crystal clear. How clear is clear enough? How simple does it need to be? Is there like a test?
There kind of is. The core tactic is to deliver a message that is so clear, simple, and direct that there is absolutely no room for confusion. 0.
Go.
Here's a good litmus test. Can you explain what you do and specifically what problem you solved to an intelligent 10-year-old in one, maybe two sentences? If you can't, your message is probably too complex for a busy prospect.
That's a tough test, but a good one.
It is. You absolutely must focus on one main problem your ideal customer is desperate to solve. And crucially, use simple, everyday language. Ditch the corporate speak, the acronyms, the jargon, and always, always highlight benefits, not features. What outcome do they get? Now, this clarity isn't just about basic comprehension, it's strategic. It's about positioning. It instantly removes the cognitive load for the prospect. They don't have to work hard to figure you out.
Makes it easy for them.
Yes, it allows them to instantly register, okay, these people understand my pain and they might have a solution. That foundational understanding, that's the very first step in building certainty and trust. They now trust that you at least understand their world.
That emphasis on radical simplicity, it's actually a sign of confidence, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you need 50 words and a diagram to explain your value proposition, maybe you haven't truly mastered it yourself.
Precisely. Confidence breeds clarity, and that clarity leads directly to the second action, which is the countermeasure to that self-focused mistake. Action 2 is proactively demonstrate empathy and build genuine rapport.
Okay, proactively demonstrate empathy. That sounds like active strategic listening. But how does an SME owner scale listening, especially across their entire marketing funnel, not just in one-on-one calls?
Well, it absolutely has to start with genuine intent.
Yeah.
You can't fake empathy long term. The core tactic is to show empathy and understanding right from the outset, long before you ever get on a sales call.
In marketing materials.
Yes. In your content, on your website, in your emails, you must articulate the customer's pain, their struggles, their frustrations, often better than they can articulate it themselves. Use their exact language. This immediately proves you've listened deeply before they even spoke a word to you. Then, in any direct interaction, a call, a chat, an email exchange, it means genuinely listening more than you talk. It means asking thoughtful, open-ended, problem-focused questions. Things like, what are the biggest challenges you're facing right now with X? Or what does success look like for you in this area? You have to understand your audience deeply.
And use their language, you said.
Critically important. Use their language, the exact words and phrases they use to describe their pain points and their desired future. This validates their feelings, makes them feel heard. The ultimate goal here is simple. Create a real connection, not a transactional one. This makes prospects feel truly understood and valued as individuals, not just as leads in a funnel. And remember, that feeling is the essential foundation, the bedrock of all successful sales, as the source puts it. People buy from people they feel connected to, people they feel get them. Establishing that genuine rapport immediately sets the conversational frame. It becomes about service, about partnership, not aggressive selling.
Right. So you're essentially earning the right to even talk about your solution by first deeply validating their struggle. Okay, and the third action. This addresses the integrity piece. How do you actually back up your claims and prove you're the trustworthy guide you say you are?
Action 3 pulls it all together. It's project unshakable belief and integrity by providing value and proof. This is where internal conviction meets external validation. The tactic here is really twofold. First, there's the internal piece. You and your team must radiate unshakable belief in your solution's ability to solve the client's problem. This isn't arrogance. It's quiet confidence born from competence. This belief is actually contagious. It allows you to lead the conversation with authority and conviction.
Okay, belief first. Then,
The external evidence. You must combine that powerful conviction with sharing real proof, hard evidence, things like detailed, relatable testimonials, in-depth case studies showing transformation, concrete, verifiable data points that directly substantiate the claims you're making, no fluff. And underpinning all of this is a core principle of the Najah Strategy, the value-first mandate.
value first mandate. What's that?
It requires consistently providing genuine, useful, free value before you ever ask for the sale. This could be through incredibly helpful blog posts, downloadable guides that solve a small related problem, insightful webinars, free tools, even just actionable tips shared generously on social media.
So give before you ask.
Exactly. This action does two things. It demonstrates your expertise organically, and it positions you as a helpful, ethical expert who is genuinely committed to serving, not selling. You build goodwill and trust equity long before you ever talk price.
I want to double click on transparency here because you mentioned it earlier and it feels like a key part of this third action of integrity. If an SME owner is actually open upfront about who their product is not for,
Yeah.
how does that honesty increase trust with the people who are a good fit? It seems counterintuitive to turn people away.
It might seem counterintuitive in a get every lead possible world, but it's incredibly powerful for building deep trust. Operating with transparency means being totally honest about what your product or service can and, just as importantly, cannot do, and who it works best for.
So you actively filter.
Yes, you create a self-filtering mechanism built entirely on truth. When you proactively reveal a limitation, maybe saying something like, look, our software works best if you already have X infrastructure in place. If you don't, honestly, we'd recommend you look at Y alternative first. What happens?
The person who does have X feels incredibly validated.
Incredibly validated, and they trust you immensely. Why? Because you've just signaled loud and clear that your commitment to their actual success outweighs your desire for a quick sale. That demonstration of integrity, putting their needs first, generates massive goodwill, and that goodwill becomes a magnet, attracting high-quality, perfectly matched clients who respect your honesty. It repels the bad fits and attracts the ideal fits.
Okay, principles are solid, actions are clear, but ambitious SME owners, they often want to see the numbers. They want proof. Let's transition now to that proof of concept you mentioned, the story of the landscaping company. Because this case study seems to perfectly illustrate what happens when you make that conscious decision to prioritize integrity, that brutal honesty over just sheer volume.
Yes, this story is such an excellent, practical, operational example. It really highlights the clash between that short-term transactional mindset, often focused on vanity metrics like lead volume, and the long-term ethical approach of the Najah strategy.
So paint the picture for us. Set the scene. What was the core conflict, the main frustration facing this specific landscaping business owner?
Okay, so this owner was experiencing extremely high levels of frustration. They'd hired a marketing agency, and on the surface, the agency seemed great. They were excellent at generating one thing: dozens and dozens of leads every single month.
That's good so far. What was the problem?
The problem was how the agency was achieving this volume. Their marketing materials, their ads, were promising quick, cheap garden makeovers. That was the hook.
Okay.
But the reality, the truth of the business, was completely different. The owner only delivered high-end, complex landscape designs. We're talking major projects, costing significantly more money, taking months of detailed, bespoke work. Not quick and cheap at all.
Wow. So high lead volume, yes, but absolutely zero trust alignment from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Every single conversation that owner had with a lead started with, well, it started with a lie, didn't it? Or at least a massive misleading omission about the service level and the price point.
Exactly right. It was a fundamental crisis of misaligned trust baked into the marketing funnel. The owner was wasting his most valuable, non-renewable asset, his time, on constant qualification calls, trying to educate people who only wanted the cheap option he never offered.
Must have been exhausting.
He was burning out, leads were low quality, prospects got annoyed when they heard the real price, and the owner was deeply frustrated because the entire front end of his business was built on a premise he could never actually deliver on. The foundation was rotten.
So the intervention, it must have required a really fundamental, probably scary shift in thinking for both the owner and the agency. How did the Najah strategy propose to fix this mess?
The intervention was direct, and it applied that core Najah principle we just discussed. Be brutally honest in your marketing. No more fudging, no more hiding the ball.
What did that mean specifically?
The agency was advised, strongly, to change the messaging immediately, radically. They needed to state clearly, right up front in the ads and on the landing pages, that the service was expensive, it was high-end, and it was only suitable for large, complex landscaping projects. They literally needed to explicitly exclude the low-end, price-shopping, tire-kicking customers in every single piece of advertising. Tell them, this is not for you.
Okay, wait a minute. I can hear SME owners listening now thinking, whoa, cut my lead volume. On purpose, that sounds terrifying. They're constantly told volume is king. More leads equals more sales. How did the owner, and especially the agency whose job was volume, manage that short-term panic this kind of strategy must have induced?
Oh, the agency absolutely did panic. You're right. They correctly predicted that their key metric, the vanity metric they were probably paid based on lead volume, would likely be cut in half overnight, maybe even more.
That's a big throw.
It's huge. And that fear, that specific fear of seeing a smaller list, fewer clicks, fewer inquiries, that's precisely what traps most businesses in that low-integrity, high-volume cycle. They prioritize the appearance of success, the busyness of high volume, over the substance of success, which is high quality, profitable, deals with the right clients. But in this case, the owner, He was ready. His quality of life was suffering so much from the wasted time and frustration. He was ready for a radical change. He was completely done with the noise and the misalignment. He agreed to try it.
Okay, nerve-wracking moment. So what actually happened once that new, brutally honest, high-integrity marketing message went live? What was the result?
The transformation was honestly undeniable and fast. Yes, the lead volume dropped significantly. Just as predicted, it was cut roughly in half.
Okay, the scary part happened.
The scary part happened. But here's the absolute key. The quality of the owner's sales conversations was transformed completely. Every single call he took after that change was with a perfectly qualified, high-intent buyer.
Every single one.
Every single one. The initial friction, the awkward price conversation, the need to re-educate, it was just gone. The conversation immediately jumped to the specifics of the complex design they already knew they wanted. Why? Because his marketing had already pre-qualified them. It had told them upfront that he was expensive and specialized in complex work they were self-selecting in.
That is genuinely stunning. It's a complete validation of the principle. It literally shifts the sales process from being this desperate, inefficient numbers game into more of a precision operation. Focusing energy only where it counts. What were the measurable outcomes? The bottom line.
The data backs it up completely. It's definitive. Despite having roughly 50% fewer leads coming in, the owner actually closed more deals overall. His total revenue went up significantly.
More deals from half the leads. Wow.
And perhaps most importantly for sustainable growth, the average value of each sale, the profitability per project, jumped by a massive 30%.
A 30% increase in average deal value. Just by being rigorously honest about what you offer and who you're actually for. That's incredible.
It really is. And it proves the point so clearly. Quality built on integrity will always, always triumph over sheer quantity built on shortcuts or half-truths. Always. Ethical honesty immediately saves huge amounts of time by filtering out the wrong people before they ever consume your resources.
Frees up the owner.
Completely frees up the owner to focus only on the most valuable, most profitable part of the business. Furthermore, it dramatically increases the customer's certainty that they're in the right place from the very first interaction. That means the sales cycle gets shorter, conversion rates on qualified leads go way up. That right there is certainty at scale in action. The business fundamentally shifted. It moved from chasing prospects endlessly to attracting ideal partners. The brand's reputation became magnetic precisely because it was built on the unshakable truth of its offering. No smoke and mirrors needed.
That case study just beautifully illustrates the profound economic impact, not just the ethical argument, for switching from that fuzzy soft skill mindset about trust to a hard-nosed strategic integrity mandate. Okay, let's do a quick punchy recap then. Let's nail down the Najah playbook for everyone listening, just to internalize those 3 core actionable tactics. Okay, let's really unpack this one last time. To build that powerful, lasting reputation, the kind that achieves certainty at scale, you need to proactively, systematically apply these 3 key tactics from the Najah playbook. What's number 1?
Number 1, ditch the complexity, the jargon, the feature lists. Your absolute first tactical objective must be to establish crystal clear, problem-focused messaging. Solve one core problem, state it simply, use their language, focus on the benefit. That's how you cut through the noise instantly.
Got it. Crystal clear first. Number 2, stop talking about yourself all the time. You've got to earn the right to sell by showing you genuinely care and understand their world first. So start proactively demonstrating empathy and building genuine rapport with your audience. Listen more than you talk. Validate their pain. Use their language.
Yeah.
Build that connection.
Exactly. Empathy first. And finally, number 3, don't just make empty promises or bold claims. You absolutely must back up your words with demonstrable truth and value. You need to project unshakable belief and integrity by providing value and proof consistently, transparently, and generously upfront. Give value first, share real proof, operate with total honesty. That makes a decision to choose you feel natural, obvious, and above all, certain for the right clients.
This entire deep dive, really, it's been about selling true transformation. It's about helping your audience genuinely see the better future they can achieve and doing it ethically, sustainably, without the hype.
And integrity is the critical component that ensures the future you're selling is the one you can and will actually deliver. Remember, the ultimate goal here, building certainty at scale. It isn't really about selling your product or service. It's about making your ideal customer absolutely certain that choosing you is their best, safest, most intelligent decision. And that kind of profound certainty, it can only be reliably transferred if the source, your integrity, your word, your actions is grounded in unshakable truth.
So we turn that challenge back to you now.
To you, the ambitious SME owner listening right now. We know the market constantly tempts you with those quick fixes, those clever gimmicks. But we also believe you crave that deeper, sustainable success, the kind built on a powerful, trusted reputation. So the challenge from this deep dive is this. What one piece of your current marketing, maybe it's a claim, maybe a boast, maybe just a vague or slightly misleading promise, what one piece are you willing to remove or change today to make your message 100% more honest, significantly clearer, and fundamentally more certain for your ideal future client? What step towards radical integrity will you take first?